The following is a presentation of the Mat Talk Podcast Network.
I think I spend more time watching DIY videos on YouTube these days than I do watching anything else on the platform. Why? My home renovation, which has now entered its 4th month. It's nearly complete. The basement was half finished. Now we'll have a legit legal guest bedroom, and I'll have a dedicated studio and office space, tucked away from everyone. In 10 years, when I'll have 2 teenage girls in the house, I'm probably going to need that hideaway, or speakeasy, if you will. So it's time to learn how to build desks, build bars, and accent walls. I'm getting pretty good with the woodworking. I'm Jason Bryant. I'm also building quite the repository of podcasts, and this is just one of them. It's Short Time Shots, a mostly daily look at today's scores and more from around the world of wrestling. We'll start off Friday with the second head-to-head duel between ranked teams in the top 25 this season as number 17 North Carolina edged number 19 Michigan by a coincidentally similar 19-17 score. Each team won 5 matches, but the big differences were 3 additional bonus points earned at 174 pounds, where Clay Lout cradled up Reese Hughes and got the fall in the first period for the heels. North Carolina's Austin Headley made his move up 2 weight classes to 157 pounds, a successful one, defeating highly talented freshman Will Lewan 5-2. Michigan's Mason Paris had a chance to give the Wolverines the win, needing a fall at heavyweight, but managed a 4-0 win over Andrew Gunning. At a sold-out Sagertown High School in northwest Pennsylvania, number 7 Wisconsin improved to 5-0 with a 28-15 win over the host Fighting Scots of Edinburgh. The Badgers picked up falls from Seth Gross at 133 pounds, Tristan Moran at 141, and Evan Wick at 165. It was a homecoming, albeit a short trip, for Edinburgh's Cody Mulligan, a Sagertown native who fell 5-2 to Tyler Dow at 184. In Division III, Western New England jumped out to a 23-4 lead over Norwich and ended up holding off a late rally to pick up a 26-19 win. While Norwich lost, give their Instagram a follow at Cadet Wrestling. No spaces, no underscores. It's totally worth it if they post stuff like they did tonight from their duels. It's quality stuff. Bluefield, the only NAIA school in Virginia, picked up a home win over Truett McConnell 28-19. Joseph Dudley and Creed Lump picked up balls for the Rams at 157 and 165 to help lift Jason Welty's squad to the win. The Muskegon duels are going on in Michigan, and the club team from Grand Valley State picked up wins against Tryon and Olivet, while Niagara Community College picked off first-year NAIA program Rochester, the one in Michigan, as well as host Muskegon. Late Thursday, Division II San Francisco State, led by head coach and past 3-time Northwestern All-American Jason Welsh, spoiled Vanguard's first home duel in 39 years as the Gators topped the Lions 39-11. Vanguard is coached by California native and former UNI Panther Caleb Flores. In Ashland, Oregon, number 2 Menlo stopped Southern Oregon 32-12 as the pair of women's teams in the NAIA's Cascade Conference did battle. Have 1.5 corrections, maybe 2 corrections to make here from last night's scores. Cerritos beat Palomar, not Rio Hondo, and Santa Ana had the 29-18 win over Rio Hondo out in California. I also said Fresno State instead of Fresno City. It was after midnight. Anyway, back to the whole podcast promo code warning thing. Rob Walsh, this one's for you. I recently posted on Twitter about the number of wrestling podcasts out in the wild. We're up to 63 active shows, over 100 of them all time. Most of them still available on iTunes. I want people who jump into the podcasting space to do it the right way. And for me, step 1 is choosing the right hosting company. That, for me, has been Libsyn. That's Libsyn. You can sign up using the promo code MTO and get a month for free. That means you get the rest of this month and all of next month for free at Libsyn.com using the promo code MTO. They've got plans as affordable as $5 a month, and they have been the backbone of the Mat Talk Podcast Network. Consider the very first podcast on wrestling was called Mat Slammers. It is still out there. Guess who they use? Libsyn. They started in 2006. Libsyn celebrating its 15th anniversary, its birthday. Yay, happy birthday for all the folks out in Pittsburgh where Libsyn's based. This is a company that cares about podcasting and podcasters. I want you to go with good, not with what's free. Again, affordable plans, $5 a month, Libsyn.com. Use that promo code MTO. And yes, for full disclosure, I get a kickback off of that. Notables on the docket for November 9th. The Journeymen Northeast Duals are taking place at Hudson Valley Community College in Troy, New York. Division I teams in action there are Arizona State, LIU, Purdue, Sacred Heart, Buffalo, Virginia, and Utah Valley. There's also a solid mix of non-Division I schools, including Division II powerhouse St. Cloud State and Pitt-Johnstown. Guess what? They aren't avoiding each other either. In the past, power teams would come to this event and not wrestle one another. I mean, you'd have the two of the top 5 teams in the country or two of the top 10. They're sitting there across the mat. No, we want to wrestle Citadel and Sacred Heart. We don't want to wrestle Oklahoma State. Come on. St. Cloud State and Pitt-Johnstown. Yeah, they're D2. They're laying it on the line out there. Why are you going to go all the way across the country in an event that's supposed to showcase the greatness of college wrestling and not wrestle? Division II American International is also there, along with Division III Alfred State, Castleton, Ithaca, Johnson & Wales, and TCNJ. There's also a youth club division with some of the best clubs in the Northeast. North Dakota State hosts the Bison Open. Appalachian State hosts the Mountaineer Open. The Ohio Intercollegiate Open is also floating around on a Saturday at Case Western Reserve, as are opens at Maryville, Oklahoma City, Milliken, UW Oshkosh, UNC Pembroke, and Dakota Wesleyan. Invitationals are being hosted by King's College. That's the one in Pennsylvania. King is in Tennessee, right across the Virginia line in Bristol. Gettysburg, UW Platteville, Mount Union, Ursinus, and Washington and Jefferson. On the women's side, Waldorf hosts its Open as well. Words are troublesome for me tonight. From the Daily Wrestling News, Travis Johnson gives a notebook-style look at the week in Division I with Penn State Media Day, Iowa injury updates, and some things from last week. That's on TrackWrestling.com. In India, wrestling journalist Vinay Sawach explains how a decades-long land dispute between opposing groups could impact a large state wrestling championships, which could impact athletes from the region and their opportunity to compete at the Indian Senior Nationals. Check it out on scroll.in. 5-point move again with the Greco-Roman news as Spencer Mango returns with his latest blog from the Army's world-class athlete program, aptly called Fort Greco. There's a reason 5-Point Move was the National Wrestling Media Association's website of the year for 2017-2018. Stuff like this. The Root is podcast with Matt Dernland and Ben Askren recap the Princeton Open. They also discuss the impact of true freshmen on college wrestling. Minnesota Public Radio previews the inaugural season of Augsburg University's women's wrestling team. There's some hammers in that room, and there's no other women's teams in Minnesota. But that didn't stop Augsburg from launching a program. That's in stark contrast to what the administration is doing 45 minutes south in Northfield at St. Olaf College. They still have not responded to my interview requests. A longtime wrestling coach in New Jersey, Russ Regal, passed away at the age of 89. Regal coached Hunterdon Central to 533 wins in his 35 years as the school's head coach. Read about it at NJ.com. From the Washington Post, Liz Clark profiles Maya Kretzler, a Kansas native who spent 4 years working to get girls wrestling sanctioned in the state. Continuing with the women's and girls wrestling news, Ferrum College's Talum Smith was honored by Wrestle Like a Girl last week with the Afsoon of Shanzamir Johnston Courage Award. She's got a great story, as the Franklin News Post outlines. Ferrum SID Gary Holden gets called into duty on this feature. Bloody Elbows Ed Gallo goes into a wrestling breakdown of the 2019 World Championships. He starts with Gadzi Murad Rashidov of the Russian Federation. Bryce Villa of the Open Mat gives us a look into 5 things to watch for Division II wrestling this weekend. Bryce has been putting in the time to cover D2 wrestling for theopenmat.com, a.k.a. Tom. Big props. By the way, there's a ton of news out there on Jim Jordan, the Republican congressman from Ohio and past NCAA wrestling champion, involving the Richard Strauss case. A handful of links will be included in the newsletter, but this is not a topic I care to discuss on Short Time Shots. You want wall-to-wall political coverage of this topic, no matter which side of the aisle you sit on? I'd implore you to look elsewhere. This is not a political show. I don't care about your political beliefs. You don't care about mine. That's where we're going to sit. On the network, Chad Dennis of the Mat Boss podcast returns with episode 40, featuring NCAA champion, world teamer, and Pittsburgh head wrestling coach Keith Gavin. The PA Power podcast with hosts Jeff Upson and Eric Knopsnyder also return, with episode 55 as the pair recaps the PA Power preseason tournament, The Surge. You can get to read those stories and more from Mat Talk Online's daily wrestling newsletter. Sign up for free at mattalkonline.com/news and get the day's top wrestling stories from around the world delivered to your inbox for free every single morning. The Mat Talk Online daily newsletter is sponsored by Resolite. Short Time Shots? No such sponsor. But you want to contribute? Do you have a product or something you need some added exposure for? Give me a shout. Or if you'd simply like to support the show and all of the on-demand audio offerings, free newsletters and historical research, and you want some of that cool compound gear, you can support this program by making a small monthly contribution to the network or a one-time donation at mattalkonline.com/join the team. As always, I'd like to thank you for spending your time with me, because you've always got time for Short Time.